Hello and welcome back to another episode of Taking Back Saturday, a Happy Buyers Club podcast where we break down the real estate market each and every Friday and help home buyers build confidence, follow a process, and hopefully buy really happy. I'm your host, as always, pushing the buttons and asking the questions, Chayse Jones, and joining me, as he does each and every week, a man that lives and breathes, eats and sleeps real estate, Sam Hunter. How are you, mate?
I love real estate so much that this is the second time we are recording this podcast because the internet dropped out while we were about 7 minutes into the last one. And I will spare our listeners my depressing Brisbane Broncos chat again. I don't think I want to relive that chat, let alone let you guys listen to it.
Oh, listen, I was unsure if you were actually going to bring up the fact that we were doing this for a take two, but here we are, just warts and all.
The rule on this show is that it gets done, internet worries and all. I don't know what's going on with the NBN when they shut the internet down at 10 o'clock on a Monday morning, but that was disappointing. But here we are at 10:31 back.
Sam, what we are going to cover off on today's show for the second time is around confidence.
Yep.
It's something that we speak to in the introduction of this show about building confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I think separates every looker from buyer, because it's all well and good to get out and say you're looking for a house and searching, but the difference between those that actually offer and offer well and buy properties is confidence.
For sure. Well, I think there's two common parties that end up buying houses every weekend. There's confident buyers and there's frustrated buyers.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
And a frustration buy is not where you want to be. That is, you've been looking for 6 months and you'll just buy anything, and suddenly what you were unwilling to buy on day one or month one, you're like, fuck it, we're just going to go and buy this. And you are unhappy in that home for a very long time, most of the time. Confident buyers are the people who have a way better experience. They're the people that you see at a barbecue and they're just like, yeah, we went to the auction on the weekend, we bought it, we're pretty happy, moving on.
Do you think you have to miss out to sort of build that confidence? Like almost like have seen a good one go?
I think in the mass market, so the first and family home market, there's not many people that will have success at the very first one. Certainly if you're a first home buyer, I think whether you've missed out directly or indirectly, as in you've come into the market a week late and you're like, oh damn.
That one.
Versus, bidding at auction and not quite buying it. I think that, and in family homes, it would be unusual to buy the first one. I think when you get into that upper quartile market, sort of 2.5, 3 mil plus, you're only really going at one. And you may be the only one that is negotiating at that level, or maybe you versus another. And it's probably more common to buy the first thing because, again, not that money's not important, but it's like a couple of $100,000 is a difference to people who are buying under 2 mil. It may not be for people who are buying it at 3 mil. So, yeah, I think it's a bit of a rite of passage to miss out. If you do the deep dive as to why you missed out as well, I actually think this is going to be a better podcast than the first one because we've gone a different angle. This is good. Yeah, if you understand why you missed out and you take the time to go, okay, cool, what could we have done better there? Where would we have done things differently, particularly if you've missed out at auction or you've missed out in the best and finals? Go back and listen to those episodes on this show or keep listening to this, hopefully not for too much longer, and we'll keep talking about the best practice that we do to give ourselves every chance of not being that party that misses out. But I think if you give yourself the opportunity to, deep dive as to why, it puts you in a good place.
It's all learning. All learning. Just like listening to this podcast. Like if you are someone that hasn't offered or hasn't missed out yet, you're in the perfect spot. You're listening. You're learning right now about how to position yourself to have confidence. And it can be done. We're not saying that you can't walk into the first property that you see that is suitable, ticks all the boxes, and you followed the process, tick the boxes, and you're offering with confidence. That's why you're listening to this, to learn more. And so you can actually action these things. For a lot of people right now in Brisbane, they're finding that suitable properties or ultra suitable properties are few and far between. So what it does mean is that when the right one does, you need to be able to move quickly and confidently. And that's about doing everything right all the way through, not just resting on your laurels and saying, hey, when it does come, we'll work it out then. We want no surprises. For the most part, confidence falls into sort of 3 categories, I think. And one of them is, overpaying. People never want to feel like they're overpaying. they want to have confidence in what they offer is, not crazy.
Yeah.
It's enough to take the property away from the market, but they're not paying, eye-watering money.
For sure. It might be a premium price, but it's still fair. Or at least it feels fair.
Another one is suitable, and that probably speaks to, at the moment, people are probably finding that things aren't entirely suitable, but if you can have confidence around what is non-negotiable for yourself, and you're only looking at properties and potentially moving on properties that are ultra suitable, it comes down to confidence in your own search and what you need and what your life looks like for the next 5-10 years or whatever that property is intended for. And the last one's regarding risks. And, that's just about, again, dedicating time. And this is the part of the job that's really unsexy. Like, I can't speak highly enough about checklists, about just having a list for every single property that you are even taking more than a few clicks on. And it's, might be 20 things deep, but it's all about just establishing as much information about that property, all the questions you could possibly ask, so that if you did walk into that property and it was suitable, you're not chasing your tail. You
100%.
know everything, you've got the confidence, and you can move confidently.
He might have said there that checklists are unsexy, but like, I've been at this guy's wedding and I've seen him hold his 2 kids as babies. I've never seen Chase look more excited. Than his eyes lit up. I can see the neons in his eyes when he's talking about checklists, because when we sit down with a client, we talk about the value, I guess, that we bring, and we say to them, like, you guys can do all this on your own, but we will do the grind better than everybody else. There's this glamour side to real estate, whether it's selling a house, buying a house, whatever it is, but it's open homes, champagne evenings, off-market property, all that sort of stuff. What no one talks about is the grind. And that is the material difference that you can have above everybody else if you're willing to do that work. And that's why people engage us, is because we are willing to do what the rest of the market, other than other people and other buyers agents, are not doing. And that's checklists. That is, how do we know everything we can about that property? How do we know everything we can about that sale? In some cases, how do we know everything we can about the sellers, so that the last box to tick is, do we actually like it? Do our clients actually like it? Do you actually like the property when you go there? We bought a property last week, came on the market on a Sunday morning. I literally finished a round of golf. I had 40-odd WhatsApp messages, and I was like, what's going on here? And I'd seen this property at like 5:15 in the morning. It was listed at 8 o'clock the night before. Weird time to list a property, but hey, who cares? We all had a chat about it Sunday. We did our DD Sunday afternoon while we were sitting there watching the footy. By Monday, we knew when we were going to go see it. We knew why they were moving. We kind of knew who they were. We'd done all our due diligence. We de-risked it as much as possible.
We had the building and pest report.
We'd seen the building and pest. We knew that there were actually live termites isolated in one fence. We got a fence quote.
And contacted the inspector, spoken to the inspector.
It was just chill and was like, yeah, welcome to Brisbane. We were like 100%. And it was a case of, by the time we get there on Thursday to have a look at it for everybody else, we're in a position where if we like it, we're making an offer. Hopefully, sounds like Homeland or by the boys. Hopefully, we are buying it ahead of the weekend. And it doesn't always work out that way, but we saw it on Thursday. We liked it. We made an offer Thursday afternoon. Contract was signed Thursday night for the first Saturday, because we were able to grind our way to confidence in that property. And the clients were like, yeah, for sure, we like it. Just what do we need to pay? And the rest is history. And none of that is rocket science, right? That is a process. That is a checklist with a number of things, probably 20 to 25 things that we just do on every single property.
Exactly right. It's preparation and it's research. And it is never ceasing to stop asking questions.
For sure.
So the preparation and research side of things, yes, you can have a deep dive into recent property sales, having a really good finger on the pulse for the markets that you're wanting to purchase within, having a good understanding of that, so that when the right property does present itself, you know what market value looks like, you know what comparable sales are to that property, so you can offer well price-wise.
You know that fair premium.
You know what are the must-haves for you. You're only looking at properties or inspecting properties that are suitable for you. You're also then going down a checklist and ticking off every single box, all the way down to a list of 8 to 10 questions that you're going to ask of the agent. And it's very important to even have a little note on the top of your shared iPhone note, let's call it, because I think these are really appropriate ways to keep track of this information so that nothing's lost, nothing's missed, particularly if you've got a buying partner. Have a shared note. Every property At the top of the page, though, never stop asking questions. And it's a great, motto for life, let alone a property search, but just always having another question to ask, because every question will be met with more information that is, again, going to build out that note, build out the information profile you've got on that particular property, which should in turn lead to confidence and total confidence. If it does feel right, you can move quickly and confidently and buy.
And if it doesn't, you can move quickly and confidently to not buy and move on to the next one. So you're maintaining that advantage over the other 15 or 20 people that are looking for what you're looking for right now and ready to buy.
Yeah. And, for everyone out there that is maybe stuck in the buying rut, the searching rut, it's all worth it for the right ones when they do present themselves, like our guys from last week who, we probably saw a lot of crap
for sure
leading up to that point, but the process remained the same through all the crap as well. It's still the exact same process of uncovering as much as we can about it, and then when the right one does happen, bang, we take it away from the market before even the Saturday, which is every buyer would dream of doing.
It was, we'd done all our checks, and it was the WhatsApp back and forth of, this is our house. And I was like, whoa, okay, let's go and have a look at it, right? Best case we buy it, worst case we learn something.
In terms of, other things that you want to build confidence, I did speak about risk there as well. For a lot of people, they probably just don't know what they don't know. But taking the time, and this is stuff that you can do on the couch. And I know a lot of our listeners, a lot of them are on the couch searchers, so they're sending inquiries via REA, at 6:30, 7:30 at night. They're having to sort of chase the questions, back down the line because they can't just pick up the phone at midday and talk to agents. But like risk mitigation, making sure you have a complete understanding of flood risk, about easements on the block, about, where it's located, noise considerations, all that sort of stuff. And you can pay for this sort of information, but it is all out there as well if you want to take the time to sort of de-risk yourself for any purchase.
It's like less than half an hour per property. And I know, like, if you find 4 properties a week that you're like, that's 2 hours of your life that you're going to dedicate to building confidence. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of time, right? For everybody. And 4's, you might be listening to this, I'd kill for 4 properties a week. I haven't seen 4 that I like in the last 3 months. We'll make sure that when the 4th one does come up in the next 3 months, you're doing all this work and you're making sure you understand it. But yeah, there's a really common theme on this show that we talk, and it is just, you just put in the work and follow, even if it's your own process, but make sure that it's consistent across the board so that you know what ticks boxes and what doesn't, because that will just, give you the confidence to make the decision of go the next step further or move on to the next one sooner. Yeah.
So I think all in all, Taking Back Saturday listeners are checklisters.
100%. iPhone users, sorry, Samsung losers.
Exactly, and they're question askers. Yeah. And I think that if you use even just those 2 tips, if those are your takeaways, you've got notes that you keep and checklists that you operate like a template, like a checklist template that you're using for every single property, and you continue to ask questions, I think that you're going to go a long way to being able to at least give yourself the groundwork to move on the properties that are suitable when they present themselves, whether it be a tight market or whether we come into spring and all of a sudden you're overloaded with options. The process has to remain the same.
For sure. And that level, like, again, we're talking about risk and preparation and everything. Confidence helps you build like a better pricing like estimate if you want as well. So we always talk about auction tactics, and I'll go into auction and best and finals for a little bit here, but we always talk about tactics and strategies and how you can kind of, get rid of the competition or think about it. But there are certain cases where you just have to have more money than everybody else. And the worst thing as a buyer is being underprepared, going to an auction and just saying, no, I don't want to pay any more, when you had more in the tank because you didn't have all these questions answered. So knowing more than everybody else gives you the opportunity to have a more informed pricing conversation where maybe you do put another 5, 10, 15, 20 on your own shit walk away price. And that may be the difference. Again, I'm thinking back to the last property we bought an auction where we went back and forth for nearly a week, and we ended up $11,000 more than where we were going to originally be bidding at the auction. And we bought the property for $5,000, like in the middle of that 11,000.
We needed every bit of that.
We had $6,000 left in the bank, but we would have been $5,000 off had we not had that conversation about why they're actually moving. Yes, they've bought something else, but yes, they're unconditional. This property will sell. We need to be in a position to actually go and get it. Is it worth like losing it at this point?
But everyone in that, there was not a person in that room, including the selling agent, that knew as much about that property as we
us,
did.
100%. And that gave us the confidence to find that extra $11,000 to make sure that it was going to be our client's home. And without knowing all of that, we'd have just been where everyone else was.
Yeah. And I think that, when you start talking about $5,000 and confidence, I think that, every buyer right now should have confidence that once you're in. You're in.
Yeah.
And it's going to do great things for you both now and moving forward. That is confidence. You've got to have confidence in making good, fundamental real estate decisions that are going to, make your life better now and, in the future financially as well.
100p.
Guys, that is Taking Back Saturday. He's Sam. I'm Chase. Cue the song.